Welcome along, everybody, to the Red Bull Ring here in Austria for round number 4 of the International GT Open. This is our second race of the weekend, but it is a very, very special one. It is and a milestone for the championship. This, our 200th race we have ever run. Since starting back in 2006, we have now reached 200 races, and this race we will crown our 200th winner in history. Well, there's an overview of the circuit, a beautiful place. This is Spielberg in Austria, a fantastic circuit as well. And as you could see, a bit of cloud cover, but it is dry out there. It is pretty cool, but dry, most importantly. And at the moment, there doesn't look to be any rain clouds around. As you can see, some T-shirts. So looks like the weather is pretty good, and all the fans out there are enjoying themselves, getting ready to watch this 200th race of the International GT Open. Well, for those of you who were not able to join us yesterday, I'll start by just reminding you of what happened. We had a win for the Emil Frey Racing Lamborghini with Albert Costa and Giacomo Alto taking the win. This car actually led from the front at the start. This is the number 17 Teo Martin Motorsport car with Andres Saravia doing the leading at the starting. Fran Reda jumped in for the second stint, but they would finish fourth in the end. It was Costa and Alto who took the win. Batske Vista and Richard Gonda, their first race of the season, Senkia Motorsport entering for this round with a BMW M6. They finished in impressive second place. They went very, very well, particularly in the middle phase of the race. Third place was the former championship leaders, no longer. It was Martin Kodric and Enrique Chavez for Teo Martin Motorsport. It was yet another podium for them this season. It was their fourth of the season, but they have now dropped behind Albert Costa and Giacomo Alto in the championship by 2 points. I think we saw a shot there of the car that is going to start on pole, and that is the Aston Martin. Johnny Adam has joined Ollie Wilkinson for this round, and Johnny Adam put a very, very impressive performance in qualifying earlier because he qualified on pole position. It was the first pole position for the team. They have had one podium, but not yet a pole position, and Johnny Adam took that for them earlier by just over half a tenth. So very, very impressive. They're a single car team as well. It's the only Aston Martin in the field, and as Johnny said in his interview after qualifying, it makes it very difficult to get the setup of the car right sometimes, but they certainly set it up very well for him this morning, and he did a great job to put it on pole. He and Ollie Wilkinson did well yesterday, though. They finished 6th on the grid from further down the field. Between them and Rueda and Saravia in 4th was a 5th place of Frederick Schandorf and Tumas Tajula. They were the winning Pro-Am team as well, the number 66 Lamborghini Huracan. Rounding out the top 10, we had the number 14 Emil Frey racing car, Siedler and Grenier, and we had Hahn and Coder for Teo Martin. SPS Automotive performance with Miguel Ramos and Fabrizio Crestani were at number 2. It appeared that Crestani had actually just put his foot down a little bit earlier than all the other drivers had. He managed to squeeze up the middle of a couple of drivers, but unfortunately, a bit of contact there. He was later penalised for it. I believe it was for the actual start, though, the actual sort of jump start that he picked up the penalty for. But from the back, they did well to get up to 9th. 10th place was Jiatong Lang and Raffaele Gian Maria for Raton Racing by Target. They completed the Pro-Am podium, and then winning the Am race was the all-Austrian driver lineup of Alexander Ratchawina and Martin Conrad. They qualified 7th yesterday. However, they are a lot further down the field today. They find themselves down all the way in 20th place, do the AM Championship leaders. They're 3rd in class as well. Our 4 AM cars are right towards the back of the field. They're all together, so it'll be an interesting one to watch. Our 2 leading Pro-Am cars are together in 4th and 5th place. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then, of course, we've got our leaders. Overall, though, it was just a very, very close session. There was less than half a second between the top 9 teams. There was less than 2 tenths between the top 5 teams. And there was just 1 second between the top 17 teams. So overall, an extremely close session. But at the head of it was the Aston Martin. It's the number 96, Johnny Adam, for Optimum Motorsport on his debut with the team. Will start from pole position. One thing we will talk about is the handicaps that are going to come into play with the pit stops, because that definitely did affect the results slightly yesterday. It, of course, the handicaps means that some teams have to spend longer in the pit lane than others do, and it sees them with a net loss going into the race almost. So, for example, in this race, a 60-minute race, all the pro teams have to spend 65 seconds in their pit stop, but some teams have to spend longer. So Albert Costa and Giacomo Alto have to spend 80 seconds, for example, and Kodric and Chavez 85. We'll do a full rundown of that, though, shortly. Let's go through the grid before we do that. Johnny Adam and Ollie Wilkinson, all British driver lineup, British team as well, of course, with the Aston Martin car, Optimum Motorsport. They'll start from pole position, 7th in the championship with 1 podium. Can they get that win today? And what a time it would be to do it. The 200th race, of course. Here is 2nd in the championship, Kodric and Chavez. They're just 2 points behind Adam and Wilkinson. 4 podiums for them so far. Here are yesterday's winners, Costa and Alto. They are now leading the championship after picking up their 2nd victory yesterday. Then we come to the championship leaders in Pro-Am. It's SPS Automotive. They were 5th in class yesterday down the field, but Tom Onslow Cole did very well for them in qualifying this morning. He and Valentin Pierreberg will go off 4th place. They've had 2 wins in that class so far this season. 5th on the grid is going to be Edward Cheever, the 3rd, and Christopher Froggatt. Again, they qualified way down the order yesterday to Christopher Froggatt, but Edward Cheever today put it right up the head of the field. So they were 6th in class yesterday, but down the order overall. Then we come to 6th place. Then it's going to be Fran Rueda and Andres Saravia. They were 4th yesterday. They're 4th in the championship. They've had 2 wins so far this season. 7th on the road, it's going to be Alam Kader and Marcelo Hahn, all Brazilian driver lineup for Teo Martin Motorsport. They are currently 7th in the championship. They finished 2nd in the Pro-Am class yesterday. Let's see if they can get another podium today. Then we come to Mateusz Lizowski and Marcin Jadinski for Olymp Racing, a new team for this round. The 2 Polish drivers, a disaster yesterday. They did not finish the race. Let's hope they firstly finish today and then finish pretty well as well. They've got Norbert Siedler and Mikhail Grenier behind them, one of the pro teams, 3rd in the championship. They've dropped down from yesterday. They've got 3 wins to their name so far. The only problem they do have is just a little bit of inconsistency. So they were 7th yesterday, for example, but 3 wins for them so far this season. If they can just start getting regular podium finishes, then there's no reason why they shouldn't be leading the championship. Well, let's look back at yesterday's highlights. Here was that instant I was referring to. You can already see that Mercedes up the middle of 2 cars. This was the view from behind in the BMW. There was the contact that was made, and that would lead to a penalty for Crestani. Here we went down towards turn number 3. There was more contact. Wait for it further down the field. Wait for a spinner. There it is. The number 77 went round, unfortunately. That was Olymp Racing in their Audi R8. This was Lazarus Racing. The number 26 car would be in all sorts of trouble yesterday. This is when the 2 teammates actually came together. Watch this one in towards turn number 1. No one wants to give up any space to each other, and as a result, both cars end up facing the wrong way briefly. Then the number 26 kind of lost it at this point and went diving down the inside of the number 8 Antonelli Motorsport, a move they'd like to forget about. It left them with a penalty and way down the field. But at the head of it, it would be Albert Costa and Giacomo Alto who would take the win. Just about then behind, it was Betske Visser who would hold on to the podium to finish in 3rd place. Kodric and Chavez there were 3rd. Betske Visser was just able to hold on to finish in 2nd place ahead of those 2. A brilliant battle towards the end. Everyone getting their phones out, ready for the start of the race, and so are we. Time for race 2, race 200 of the International GT Open, a milestone for the championship. And if you're with us for the first time, what a time to join us. This is the grid for you. Johnny Adam on pole position with Enrique Chavez alongside. Then it is Giacomo Alto, championship leaders there with Tom Onzo Cole, the leading Pro-Am car, alongside. Row number 3 is Edward Cheever III and Fran Rueda. And then on row 4 we have Alan Koder and Matthias Lazowski for Olymp Racing. Let's hope they make it to the end today in that Audi. Norbert, Siedler and Betske Visser could be one to watch on row number 5 in the BMW M6. New team for this round. Frederick Schandorf and Thomas Jaeger are going to be on row number 6. Then it's going to be Alessio Martinez for Lazarus Racing. Let's hope they keep a clean pair of heels today. Miguel Ramos is alongside him. Then it's Raffaele Gianmaria and Daniel Zampieri on row number 8. Row number 9 will be Nicola Di Marco in the Lamborghini, and in the Mercedes it'll be Davide Roda, a single driver team that. Giuseppe Cipriani likewise will be doing the full race by himself. He has Alexander Raczewina, the championship leaders, alongside, and then Stanislaw Zadinsky will be doing the full 60 minutes himself as well at the back. Despite some drivers doing the full race by themselves, they still do have to make a mandatory stop. And as I said before, they have to make a minimum 65-second stop. That some teams have to be in the pits for longer. So Betske Visser and Richard Gonda have to serve a 75-second pit stop. An 80-second pit stop it is for Albert Costa and Giacomo Alto, who start third. And then we have a 85-second pit stop for Martin Kodric and Enrique Chavez, who are starting from second. Johnny Adam and Ollie Wilkinson, because of where they are in the championship, they only have to do a 65-second stop. So already they're carrying an advantage. Not only that, but they start from pole position. It's the 200th race. What a time it would be to get a first win for them this season. The Optimum Motorsport car will start from pole position. It is to the left of your screen, the Aston Martin. Nearest to us is Martin Kodric and Enrique Chavez. Enrique Chavez will be in the car to start the race. Here is Albert Costa and Giacomo Alto. Alto will start the race this time, with Costa starting yesterday. We get ready to go racing for the 200th time in International GT Open. We're here at the Red Bull Ring. It's race number 2 of round number 4 of the 29th season. Let's wait for the lights to go out, which it does now. Lights go green and we're off down towards turn number 1 for the first time. The Aston Martin with Johnny Adam in the car leading the way. We're on board with Giacomo Alto, who's trying to dive down the inside of Enrique Chavez. Enrique Chavez bouncing over these sausage curbs on the exit, as do a number of other drivers. We're now back on board with Costa and Alto. It looks like one of the Mercedes has been able to dive ahead, and that's Tom Onzo Cole for SPS Automotive, the Pro-Am team, up into third place overall as we go down towards turn number 3. Enrique Chavez in second place there, just running a little bit wide, has to take to the exit of the road, as does one of the Lamborghinis in the background as well. Everyone through safely. We now go on board with the BMW. This is Betske Visser, who is sitting in 13th place as we go down towards turn number 4 for the first time, with 3 wide just ahead of this as well. Oh, and we've got one car off the road. Not too sure who that was from this angle, but it's certainly the Aston Martin of Optimum Motorsport who are doing the leading out front as we go down towards Niki Lauda corner for the first time. As I said, it's going to be a 60-minute race. The pit window will open with 36 minutes remaining and will close with 24 minutes remaining. There'll be no refueling in this race either, so we may even see some fuel saving going on as we now go down towards turn number 9 for the first time. There's the Lazarus Racing number 26 diving down the inside of the number 75, which is the Row Racing Sun G1 racing car with Thomas Jaeger in. Across the line we go. It's Adam leading the way, 6.5 tenths ahead of Enrique Chavez. Then it's Tom Onzo Cole in third place, leading Pro-Am team, leading the championship as well, just with a slimmer advantage now, having had a bad result yesterday. Alto, the winner yesterday, is in 4th place. We're on board with him now. Let's have a listen. There we go, and in the background, oh, it looks like we've got a move being made. That is one of the Emil Frey cars going down the inside, I think, as the Teo Martin Motorsport number 17 loses out. I think, in fact, that was the other Teo Martin Motorsport car. It was the number 16 of Alan Koder going down the inside of Fran Rueda. Fran Rueda down to the inside once again, though, in that orange and white McLaren. and it looks like Rueda has just been able to hold on to that position. So Koder sits in behind. These two teammates battling away. We did see some team orders from the Teo Martin Motorsport team yesterday. I wonder if we'll see similar things today. The Olymp Racing Audi R8 is just ahead of this, is just in the background, sorry, leading this next queue of cars we see as we go up towards turn number 9. Got a Lamborghini behind. There's the Ferrari as well, the Ferrari 458. That is just looking down the field. I think that's one of the Antonelli cars, is it? In fact, no, that's the Spirit of Race car, the Ferrari 488, being driven by Ed Cheever III in the opening stint as they now go across the start-finish line. This is Betske Visser in the BMW. We come out of turn 1 then, and there we can see the field filing its way through. Leading Pro-Am team is Tom Onslow Cole. Leading Am driver is Davide Roeder at the moment, as we now go up towards turn number 3 for the first time. We're on board there with Giacomo Alto chasing down Tom Onslow Cole. In the background, we can see Rueda and Koder, Lizowski, Schandorf. Then we've got Ed Cheever in that Ferrari 488. And then we've got Norbert Siedler as well as they come out of turn 3 and now make their way down towards turn number 4. You can see there was only a second between the top 17 in qualifying, and that's being demonstrated in this one. You can see just how closely knit the field is. We do have 3 classes, by the way, if you're new to International GT Open: Pro, Pro-Am and Am, and they are it's decided which class you go into by driver grading. So all Pro drivers in the Pro class, we have a Pro and an Am driver combined in the Pro-Am class, and then they're Am drivers only in the Am class. And in the Am class, we have some single drivers as well, where they're doing the race by themselves without any teammates. They do all have to make a mandatory pit stop as well, of a minimum of 65 seconds. The handicaps, because of championship order, means some teams have to stop for longer. One team that doesn't have a handicap pit stop, though, is the lead team, which is Johnny Adam for Optimum Motorsport. So they are, in my opinion, favourites to win this race, because they've already got a net advantage of 10 to 15, sometimes even 20 seconds at times over the rest of the field. But that said, it is a 55-minute race, and we have driver changes still to come, don't forget. So we've got drivers out at the moment. They'll have to hand over to their teammates halfway through this race. Here is a replay of the start then. This was the start of the 200th International GT Open race, and a fairly clean start, unlike yesterday where we saw a little bit of contact at the front. Other than that, everyone being very well behaved, I'd say. Oh, there was a little bit of a bang there between the Rail Racing Sun NG1 racing car. You can see the light blue car right in the middle of your picture in the Mercedes. Wait for it, there would be a bang there, but we didn't quite pick up the end of that incident. I don't think it was anything more than just a little bit of contact. Here was a move being made by Teo Martin Motorsport. That was one of the Lamborghinis running wide. This was the number 16 of Koder diving down the inside of his teammate. As we are on board here with Betske Visser in the BMW, almost running into the back of the Sun NG1 racing car ahead of us. Here we can see the number 19, and that is Raffaele Gianmaria. That was Raffaele Gianmaria making a move. We now go live with the race once again, as we see Olymp Racing there in their Audi R8. They're just sitting off the lead queue. So we've got Johnny Adam and Enrique Chavez breaking away out front, and then Onslow Cole leads the queue for third, which is in picture now. So you can see third, fourth, fifth and sixth all together. Then it's a gap back to Olymp Racing in 7th place, and a little bit wide there for Olymp Racing. That is the team, new team for this round. Give us a wave. They're under a little bit of pressure at the moment from a fellow Pro-Am team, which is Frederick Schandorf. He and Tumas Tajula actually took the class win in Pro-Am yesterday. So a good result for those two. Tumas, a new driver for this round as well. And it's moved them up to second in the championship. So it's their second podium of the season yesterday. As we continue following this battle for third place, We get settled in to the race now. It's a slightly shorter race than we had yesterday. It's a 70-minute race that we do on Saturday, and then Sunday is a 60-minute race. We have qualifying for each, so we did have a qualifying session this morning, which settled the grid for this, and the drivers who qualified yesterday are not allowed to take part in the qualifying that takes part today. So you kind of pick which race you want to qualify for as a driver in your teams. But let's have a listen then on board with Giacomo Alto. And that Lamborghini Huracan there. Here's Giacomo Alto going down the gears. He's behind Tom Onslow Cole. You can see him with the headlights beaming. Fourth in the queue at the moment. So there goes second out of frame now. Here is the third place battle, which we're highlighting. It's Onslow Cole in his Mercedes, then Alto, then Rueda, and then we have Alam Koder. Two classes together in that fight, as we are now with Betske Visser, who's down in 13th place at the moment. Yesterday, they had a really good result. They finished second overall, the BMW, and it was in the pit stops where they were able to do it. Being a new team, they're not carrying a handicap, so they only have to do the minimum 65 seconds in the pits. And although they were very, very quick yesterday, I don't want to take anything away from them there, it did help them make a few positions up during the middle phases of the race. But once they made those positions, they made it count, because they set some absolutely blistering pace and did a very good defensive performance in the latter stages of the race. Okay, you can see Giacomo Alto in the Lamborghini. Here we go. So that's Onslow Cole, then that's Alto, then that is Rueda, and then at the back of the queue, that is Alam Koder. Alam Koder at the back of the queue. He is the second Pro-Am driver out there at the moment, second Pro-Am car. You can see Onslow Cole at the head of this. He'll just be sitting there hoping that Giacomo Alto can start putting some pressure on Onslow Cole. That will help him draw a little bit closer. And then we'll probably have a really interesting fight on our hands for the lead in the Pro-Am class. No fight for the lead in the Pro class at the moment, though, because Adam and Chavez are split by 2 seconds. Just having a look further down the field. Betske Visser, she's still very close there. You can see her now, actually, in the BMW, the white BMW. She's just chasing Thomas Jaeger at the moment. Alessio Martinez for Lazarus Racing is ahead of that. Martinez, that car was in all sorts of trouble yesterday, had 3 separate incidents. Let's just hope Lazarus Racing are able to avoid any contact today, because they struggled to do that yesterday, unfortunately. Down towards the final corner then. We have already completed the first 10 minutes of the race, so 10 down, 50 to go in terms of the length of this race, and we'll just run down the standing, Joey. It's Adam, Chavez, Alto, Rueda and Siedler, your top 5 in the Pro class. Onslow Cole, who's there. Koder, who is in that car, the 16, second in Pro-Am. And it's Lazowski, Schandorf, Edchiva the third. And in Am, it is Roda, Cipriani. The Austrians, Ratchawina is third in the queue at the moment in Am. And then it's Zadinsky in 4th place. But this is by far the closest battle on circuit. It is the most important, I'd say, as well, because it's for 3rd overall, and we have our 2 leading Pro-Am cars in it as well. Don't forget, of course, they really all do want to win at the 200th race of the International GT Open. We started back in 2006 with our very first race at Monza. Our 100th race was at the Hungaroring back in 2012, and now we're at 200, and I think no better venue in a way. Red Bull Ring, really fantastic place to go racing, a circuit with a lot of history as well, and it is a great circuit for racing on, given its layout, long straights. It is 4.3 kilometers in length, but the 10 corners joined together by some very, very long straights and very fast corners. And that all results in very close racing and very close qualifying sessions as well. Well, up towards turn number 1 we go. Now for the 9th time, we can see Onslow Cole leading this, but it's Alam Koder, the one who looks most likely to make a move at the back of this queue. See almost 2 wheels in the air there was Onzo Cole as he clattered the curb on the inside of turn number 1. Car hopping along as he came out of the first corner, but here is Alessio there trying to close down his Teo Martin Motorsport teammate Fran Rueda, and was he going to dive down the inside? Well, he was filling the mirrors there of Fran Rueda, but no more. Didn't want to make a move just yet. Oh, there you can see almost 3 wheels in the air it was there for Tom Onzo Cole. Brilliant shot that. Great job, cameraman, picking that one up. And just over the sausage curb there was Alessio there. That's what you have to do, though. You have to use the sausage curb on the exit to maximise speed through the corner. Hard to get wrong, though, because if you go just slightly over it, you can pick up a penalty. And if you go more than 2 wheels over it fully, then you might even end up getting a little bit sideways and losing time down to turn 3 as well. Find yourself getting overtaken. Here's Olymp Racing in the Audi R8, having entered that car for this round. They've got 2 cars entered, one in Pro-Am and one in Am. That is their Pro-Am car. It didn't finish yesterday. It got tipped round on the first lap into a spin and went no further, unfortunately. So it's good to see them going, and now they are going round. They are really showing what they can do here. Now, last time around, Johnny Adam out front extended his lead by half a second, so it is now 3.2 seconds the gap between himself and Chavez. And in the background, Alessio there still trying to line up this move on Fran Rueda ahead. And is that a move? It's yet another attempt to fill the mirrors of Fran Rueda. It's just a case now. Alessio there, all he is doing there, he's not actually going to dive down the inside. He's just trying to force Fran Rueda to make a mistake. Fran Rueda starts looking in the mirrors when he's supposed to be braking. There's a chance that he'll lock up and run wide or just completely miss his braking zone, and that would allow Alessio there to get the place on the exit of the corner. Often when you can't get past, that's a tactic drivers often deploy. As we now go on board with Giacomo Alto in the Lamborghini, let's have a listen to the last part of this lap then. Fantastic stuff there from Alto. Oh, and I think we've just picked it up behind. That's Alessio there running wide. So Alessio there just getting it a little bit wrong. And I'll tell you what, he'll be lucky if he hasn't picked up any damage there. Alessio there now heading up towards turn number 3. He's really wiped himself out of contention for this fight at the moment. He's given himself a lot of work to do now if he wants to rejoin this Alessio there. But what this has done, if you're Fran Rueda now in that orange and white McLaren, what it's given you now is a bit of breathing space. Let's have another look at this then. Just carries too much speed. The rear comes round on him. That unsettles the car. As he corrects it, ends up going straight on. There you can see, there's the correction from Alessio there. Now he's off. Now he has to try and get back onto the circuit before hitting that grass dip. Doesn't do it in time. And unfortunately, it was a bit of an uncomfortable rejoin to the circuit for Alessio there. And he's lost 1.2 seconds in the process. Well, here further back, this is Thomas Jaeger versus Alessio Martinez. Martinez, the one leading for Lazarus Racing. And this is our race leader overall. This is Johnny Adam, 3.6 seconds clear of Enrique Chavez, with Tom Onzo Cole third. Giacomo Alto applying a bit more pressure now to Onzo Cole. 0.8 back and going quicker on this lap. It's actually closed the gap by 0.2 of a second. So it doesn't look close at the moment because that is Onzo Cole. Alto at the moment nowhere to be seen, but the gap is coming down, and there we can see, here is Giacomo Alto second in the queue in that Lamborghini. That's the Teo Martin Motorsport McLaren of Fran Rueda. And it's not a huge amount of time, actually, before we're going to see our pit lane open. That's going to be with 36 minutes to go. Then they'll have, when it opens, they'll have 12 minutes to come in and make their mandatory stop. Alan Coder has just gone purple through the first sector. There we can see him. So desperately trying to make up for that earlier mistake. Alan Coder is pushing very hard, and he is bringing himself back into contention in this fight. As we can see here is Johnny Adam leading the way at the moment by 3.6 seconds. As we said, Coder quickest on the circuit at this moment in time, and is closing the gap down to Fran Rueda. Everyone in that queue, in fact, is closing on Tom Onslow-Cole. So Onslow-Cole has a train forming behind with Alto, Rueda and Coder all in it. And Onslow-Cole has lost a further 2/10 on this lap to Giacomo Alto behind. So it's going to be even closer next time we see them. Further back, Alessio Martinez and Thomas Jaeger is also a close fight, but the battle for third is really starting to spice up now, and there'll be drivers out there that want to make some positions before they bring the car into the pits. It's only around 5 minutes now until we see that pit lane open, but this is our race leader, our pole sitter. It's Johnny Adam. They haven't taken a win so far this season, Optimum Motorsport. He'll hand over to Ollie Wilkinson when he comes into the pits. Imagine Johnny Adam might stay out there for as long as possible. That is Ollie Wilkinson, mentally preparing himself, I think, for his stint. Probably is going off now to get ready. Headphones in, just trying to get himself in the zone. Quick chat with the team, and Ollie Wilkinson will be handed a car that is in the lead of the 200th race. And that's going to be some pressure to contend with, given they've only been on the podium once so far this season. This is Johnny Adam, though, through Nicky Lauda corner. Johnny Adam doing a brilliant job. He's going to bring that car in for Ollie Wilkinson in the lead of the race. And Giacomo Alto's only half a second now behind Tom Onslow-Cole in fourth place. So the battle for third is getting even closer. While we're with our leader, I'm just going to run you through the pit stops they all have to do. So it's a minimum of 65 seconds stop, but in the pro class, Visser has to do 75 seconds. Then we have an 85-second stop for Chavez. Alto has to do an 80-second stop. So they're the drivers carrying the handicaps. In the Pro-Am class, it's a 70-second stop for Coder and Gian Maria. Also, we have a 75-second stop for an 80-second stop, sorry, for Thomas Sajula and Frederick Schandorf. And then it's Thomas Jaeger has 70 seconds. Ed Cheever has 70 seconds as well. And in the AM class, Conrad and Rachuina have to stop 85 seconds, as does Davide Roda. So it's 20 seconds more than the rest of the field. So do bear that in mind once the pit window opens. Some cars will have to be in the pits for longer than others, because that is what the regulations say, and that is what they've been told before the start of the race. It changes the handicaps after every single race, so the results of the previous race do affect it. And it lasts for the entire season. The only time we don't see it is at the very start of the season, so at Paul Ricard that was not the case. It just helps keep the championship very, very close, very interesting, and it's more of a challenge for the drivers who are doing the leading in the standings, because they have even more pressure on themselves, more time to make up when they get back out of the pit lane, and it often opens the door for some teams who may be coming off the run of a bad few rounds to go and get a podium or perhaps a win. Here is Alessio Martinez versus Thomas Jaeger. Tell you what, ahead of this though, Tom Onslow-Cole has responded, has pulled a little bit of a gap out over Giacomo Alto now. But this is a very close battle on circuit. Thomas Jaeger just 3/10 behind Alessio Martinez ahead. They are battling for 11th and 12th on circuit. Jaeger behind is in the Pro-Am class. Alessio Martinez is in the Pro class. But the Mercedes there of Jaeger really starting to put the pressure on the Lamborghini of Alessio Martinez. Just 2 minutes and then we're going to have the pit window open. So there's going to be some drivers out there who will immediately come in. What we tend to see is a real rush of pit stops at the very start, and then a real rush at the very end, which basically is down to the different tactics that you are running. So some drivers will want to get in as quickly as possible, and then some teams will want to utilize the driver they have out there for as long as possible. And this is Grenier. Has he had an off? Because, and in fact, sorry, that's Norbert Siedler. Apologies, I got a little bit confused because I thought that was Grenier's car, and I thought I didn't see it behind Fran Rueda, but here we go. This is 4th place, Giacomo Alto. Here we go, it's a steep incline. Up towards turn 1 we go, hard on the brakes into there. It's almost a blind entry, and then all of a sudden you come over the crest, there's a sausage curb greeting you. And now we are on the run down towards turn number 2, flat out left-hander. It's a steep, steep incline then up towards turn number 3, heavy braking. The elevation change means you can brake later than you think, but it tightens on the exit as that corner. It's uphill as well, so you've got to carry more speed through there as well to get a good exit. Here we go then. This is now where the track starts to come back down on itself. The run down to turn 4, easy to get caught out on the brakes here. It's downhill braking zone, gravel trap on the exit. You've got to be very careful on the runoff. You've got to use all of the rumble strip, but not the gravel, of course. Now we come round turn 5. This is turn number 6. Tip the car in. Very tricky corner, this one, because it seems to go on forever. You've got to, again, get on the rumble strip on the exit. Now into Niki Lauda corner. Long left-hander. Take a tighter line there for Alto. Don't run the car too wide, otherwise you'll be all over the rumble strip and potentially the grass. Now we come back up and then back down into Jochen Rindt corner. Blind entry, and they can see you can get caught out by people coming into the pits because pit lane is now open, and that is timed very, very perfectly by Teo Martin Motorsport. They came in 5 seconds after the pit window opened, so they were desperate to get in. Was the number 17, Fran Rueda, Andres Saravia there, opening the door. He started the race yesterday. Is now going to jump in and see what he can do. Also into the pits, we've got Fabio Anidi about to jump in the Lazarus racing car, so the Lamborghini is in, and there it is. You can see Fabio getting ready to jump in that car. More cars coming in. We've got, I think, one of the SPS cars into the pits. So I think Crestani is about to take over in that car. Yes, he is, in the number 10 car. So that means it was Miguel Ramos bringing that in. Here comes Martin Conrad into the pits. Martin Conrad jumping in, sorry. So it's Retchawina who started the race. Conrad's going to jump in, see if he can take that car to a second victory. They've got to do quite a lengthy stop, though, don't forget. Here is Enrique Chavez. He's got to do a lengthy stop as well. I wonder when he is going to decide to come in. It's going to be now. So there you can see the white line. They've got to stay within that white line all the way until they get into the pits. One team did run over that yesterday and got penalised for it. So you've got to be careful. As much as you want to go quick into pit entry, you can't be too quick. So Enrique Chavez will now hand over to Martin Kodrich. They've got to do a very long stop, though. So they'll be stopped there in total for about 85 seconds rather than the minimum 65. So Kodrich is in. Young driver, real rising star in GT racing is Martin Kodrich. Here comes the number 66. So this is Tumas Tajula, who is going to now jump in the car. Frederick Schandorf handing over Vincenzo Sospiri Racing, that is. They won the Pro-Am class yesterday. This is the number 14 that has just come in to the pits. We've been following them in intervals. Norbert Siedler is going to hand over to Mikhail Grenier. They were 7th yesterday, 3 wins to their name. At the moment, they're not at the head of the field, though, so we'll see how they get on. Now, I think Johnny Adams is going to stay out until 24 minutes to go. Because he is a very quick driver, of course, not taking away anything from Ollie Wilkinson, but he seems really in tune with the car out there. Put it on pole earlier as well, and wouldn't be surprised if they leave him out there as long as possible. 3 times British GT champion, Formula Le Mans winner as well in class. Aston Martin factory driver, says it all. Johnny Adam is a seriously talented pilot. And and he's demonstrating that now as he comes through the first corner. Up we go towards turn number 3. There you can see that is Kodric rejoining the circuit and is about to be a lap down. But of course, Johnny Adams still has to make his move. Oh, look at this, 3 cars, 3 cars coming around turn 1, 3 cars rejoining, and all of a sudden it's very, very close coming up towards turn number 3. That's Crestani in the Mercedes there, just having to nip past one of the Lamborghinis, and Crestani there able to get by without any delay. Giacomo Alto has come in, and there you can see him walking away, gives the thumbs up to Albert Costa, his teammate, the pair who won yesterday. Richard Gonda is about to jump in. You can see Betske Visser jumped out of the BMW there for Senkia Motorsport. This looks like one of the Mercedes. This is the Olymp racing car. Stanislaw Shedinsky is doing the whole race by himself. We'll still have to serve the length of time that is required though. So that's why you saw no driver change. Oh, well, look at this. We had some racing going on in the pit lane. And in the end, one driver sensibly giving the place up to the other, but that may be investigated actually for an unsafe release, because you should be released behind the car. Getting released alongside it can be deemed to be unsafe, so we'll keep an eye on any investigations there, but thankfully those pictures delivered to us so we can pick that one up. Okay, this is Albert Costa. He's rejoined the circuit ahead of, I think that is Martin Kodric behind. So Costa ahead of Kodric. Very close together though. They were very close before. That is the leading car. That's Johnny Adam. With 24 minutes remaining, that is when the pit stop window will close. So in just under 7 minutes time. We're almost halfway through this race. And to remind you, it's the 200th race of our history here at the International GT Open since we've been running in 2006. We have now reached 200 races, and this very race is the 200th running of the International GT Open Championship. So who is going to become the race winner? At the moment, the favourites, nailed-on favourites, are Johnny Adam and Ollie Wilkinson. Johnny Adams said he thought the car was quick enough for at least a podium. That's what they were pushing for. Right, this is Richard Gonda, having just taken over from Betske Visser. And there you can see that is Crestani. That is a good move around the outside. We did see that one, but another look at it closer shows just how good a move that was from Fabrizio Crestani. As round turn number 1 there, we are following Costa, Kodric, Adam, the leading car. These two a lap down. Johnny Adam yet to stop. So the real battle, we'll kind of ignore Johnny Adam in this instance, and we'll just keep an eye on Kodric in the 59 and Costa in the 63, because they are battling for position. Alan Coder, by the way, has just gone purple in the first sector. He's yet to come in. I thought we did see him into the pits. In fact, no, that was because we got it confused with Grenier, wasn't it? Yeah, so Alan Coder, who's still out there, is gone purple through the first sector, is closing a gap slightly to Tom Onzo Cole, who is still out there. So yet to stop is the likes of Johnny Adam, Tom Onzo Cole, Alan Coder, Mateusz Lizowski, Edward Cheever III, Thomas Jaeger, Davide Roda, Nicola DeMarco, and then Andres Saravia, I don't think has stopped either. No, Saravia has stopped, so I think it's the top 8 that have yet to stop. And this is where the handicaps come into play, because the likes of Saravia and Grenier, I think they've actually leapfrogged these guys. Just ahead of these two, I think, is going to be Fabio Anidi, who has also been into the pits. Fabio Anidi has just come out onto track. This is Crestani, now trying to get past Tom Onslow Cole on much fresher tyres, Crestani. Mercedes versus Mercedes up towards turn number 3. Through turn 2, the left-hander. Now up to 3 we go. And I imagine this won't be too much of a difficult job with Crestani on the fresher tyres. Edward Cheever III is in and out of the car. And jumping in is his teammate Christopher Froggatt. Gets in the Ferrari there, ready to go to the end. So that's another car that has been in. It's less than 4 minutes now until the pit window will close. If you haven't made your stop by then, you get a very hefty penalty. So you have to do it. This is the BMW now. They have stopped. This is for position. Richard Gonda. So like yesterday, because Senke Motorsport are a new team for this round, they do not have any handicaps, and it's really helped them in the middle phase of the race get really into contention. Once they get there, they're quick enough to run with these guys. But Richard Gonda here now has a real good chance here at fighting for yet another overall podium. On board with the BMW we go then, and let's have a look as we go up towards turn number 1. As we jump out of car now, we can see the two Mercedes. See the difference in line there. Onslow Cole choosing not to use that rumble strip going into the corner to brake, but Crestani did. Let's have a listen to the BMW. Going up the gears as we go up towards turn number 3. This very, very close. All of this for position as well, is it? No, Onslow Cole is not fighting for position at the head of this. He hasn't stopped. Right, this is one of the Lamborghinis in, and it's the number 27 of Nicola De Marco. So it's the Lazarus Racing team who are into the pit lane. And Nicola De Marco will hand over. Just having a look down the order. He's going to hand over to Nicholas Pola. They were 11th yesterday. See if they can improve. Oh, sideways action through turn 1, and a pretty good save there. Alam Coder has been doing purple sectors, but that time just took too much speed in towards turn number 1 and did a good job to keep it on the straight and narrow in the end. Right, less than 3 minutes to go until pit window closes. It's not long now, so Onslow Cole, I think, is this him coming in? Johnny Adam is in. Right, race leaders are in. We've got a warning flag for car number 19. That is Yirtong Lang for track limits at turn 9, which is Jochen Rincorner, the penultimate turn, and turn 1. There we can see the number 96 will come in. There we go, Ollie Wilkinson opens the door. He's the regular driver in this team. They weren't at the last round though, but they are back, and they have brought Johnny Adam back with them. He's really enjoying his time in the International GT Open, enjoying being here for the first time. Took pole position as well, so a good way to start. That team has had one podium, as we said, this season. No wins though. This is into the pits. Didn't quite catch the number of that car. I think it might have been Marcelo Hahn, but not going to have a guess with any certainty. This is Olymp Racing. They are in. Jadinsky's going to be jumping in the car. Lazowski gets out. That's one of our Pro-Am teams. This is the Teo Martin Motorsport number 17 car, who has stopped, and it's the lead car that has made a stop. But will it take the lead when they come across the line? There comes the Aston Martin with Ollie Wilkinson in, and Ollie Wilkinson is going to be in the lead. But what about Tom Onslow Cole? Will he get out ahead of that car? Let's have a look as they come round. No, well, it's Tom Onslow Cole who's handed over, of course, to Valentin Pierreberg, and Valentin Pierreberg did not get out ahead of Andres Saravia, but is still very close to that number 17 Emil Frey racing car. Teo Martin Motorsport car, sorry, as the driver changes have now finished. So those were the last stops. The two cars that are in is Davide Roda and Kenny Habul. They were the last two cars to make it in just in time. We can see the Audi R8 there in the slipstream of the Lamborghini coming down towards us. That is Olymp Racing in the predominantly yellow and black liveried car. Just ahead, that looks like the number 14 of Mikhail Grenier. Here we'll pick the battle up now. So indeed, that is the 14 and that is the 77. Right, we can now do a full run through of the order, and I'll do it when the lead car crosses the line, which it is about to do now. This looks like Ollie Wilkinson, as I look out the commentary box window, coming down the start-finish straight and crosses the line. So Ollie Wilkinson leads the way. His gap over Andres Saravia, you can see on screen, is 6.1 seconds. 22 minutes and 45 seconds remaining. And that is the gap that Ollie Wilkinson has to try and hold on to. Valentin Pierreberg is third. Marcelo Hahn is now fourth. And Mikhail Grenier fifth. Marcin Jadensky is sixth. So you'll see, you're hearing a lot of new names. That's because our driver changes have been done. So Ollie Wilkinson, who took over from Johnny Adam, leads the race at second place as we come up towards turn 3. Here's a move, is it? That's the number 14 of Mikhail Grenier, trying to dive down the inside there of Marcelo Hahn. Not able to get through, but Marcelo Hahn runs wide, is delayed on the exit, and Grenier tries to dive down the inside as they go down towards turn number 4 for the 25th time in this race. Now Grenier is going to look to the outside, sells the dummy, dives down the inside, and does he get the move complete? Yes, he does. Just about stops the car in time, and Grenier, textbook stuff, gets the move complete then on Marcelo Hahn. And Marcelo Hahn will be very disappointed with himself that he left the door open and fell for that one. But Grenier, brilliant driving from him. He gets through into what is now 4th place for that team. So Grenier, having taken over, we'll have another look at the replay there. You can see, waited until the braking zone, dived down the inside, just about got the car stopped in time, got on the power, and was just able to hold on from Marcelo Hahn. Well, Grenier took over from Norbert Siedler. This is Costa, who took over from Giacomo Alto for Emil Frey Racing. They are in 7th place, so they have lost 3 positions. I think that is in the pit stops due to their handicap. And now they're going to dive down the inside of Olymp Racing. We're on board with this. Olymp Racing are going to give them the room to do it, and good driving from Olymp Racing. They're not in this fight. They're in a different class. It's their first race, and they do not want to get in the way of a championship fight there, because that was the championship leaders coming through now. They're 4th place in class, and 6th place overall is Albert Costa. Ahead of him now is Marcelo Hahn in the 16, who has taken over from Alan Coder. We talked about him a lot, of course. In the background, you can see Martin Kodrich there to the outside of the Olymp Racing car. He's going to get that move done on the brakes. So Kodrich, having taken over from Chavez, is now up into 7th place. They had to do an 85-second stop in comparison to 65 seconds for most of most of the teams, so they lost a lot of time there, hence they've lost some positions. This was a replay of that move from Costa down the inside, and sensible driving from Chadinsky. That just allowed the move to be completed. Knew that there was no way to fight around the outside, and I think they minimised the amount of time they were going to lose in all of that, because that car was always coming through. Good shot of it on board as well. Ollie Wilkinson's lead is coming down. It's down to 5.1 seconds. Since we last talked about the leaders, the gap between Ollie Wilkinson and Andres Saravia has come down by 1 second. Here we go. We're on board with Albert Costa as we go up towards turn number 2. Let's have a listen. Are we going to see a move complete now on Marcelo Hahn? Yes, we are. Albert Costa dives to the inside and gets the move done. Brilliant stuff that from Albert Costa in the slipstream. Just able to get the move complete. Fantastic to catch that one on board as well. Albert Costa diving down the inside of Marcelo Hahn. So great stuff there from Costa. Gets by. And that drops Hahn down into 6th place and has Kodrich behind as well. 18 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Let's have another look at the replay then. There you can see Costa just waited for the last minute in the braking zone, dives down the inside, and Marcelo Hahn, literally no time to react to that one. Fantastic stuff. A brilliant onboard we had of that as well. Brilliant move by the Spaniard there, Albert Costa, and a deserved round of applause from the team as well. Emil Frey Racing looked very pleased with that one, very impressed. It looks like Hahn, is under a lot of pressure now from Kodric, so Hahn may get past at the exact same place here next time. Let's have a look. Here is Kodric in the number 59. Up towards turn number 2 we go. Doesn't look as close as Costa was. Here we go through turn number 2 now, into 3. I think this would be a bit brave for Kodric to try and move here. Yes, he's going to stay behind for the time being. So Kodric trying to get the move done down to turn 4 perhaps. It's a bit of flashing of the lights there from Hahn. I'm not too sure what that was about. Well, that was just my eyes deceiving me. 17 minutes to go. Just over that, we've got a warning for car 27. That's Nicola DeMarco down in 15th place for track limits at turn 9. That's the penultimate corner. Very fast downhill right-hander. Blind entry that as well. Makes it even more difficult. Right, then up we go to that aforementioned corner. This is turn number 9 we are coming to. Kodric, is he going to make his move? Has he just spent a lap lining this one up, or is Hahn just starting to pick the pace up? We'll see. Oh, a brilliant run out the final corner there for Kodric. And is this Hahn moving over and letting the other car through? I'm not too sure. They're side by side though, and yes, it was. Okay, interesting stuff. That looked like the two Teo Martin motorsport drivers there just swapping positions. I say that, sorry. Just having a look, of course. Yes, Kodric, Teo Martin Motorsport, as is Hahn. I think that was a team order. So the two teammates swapping positions. We did mention that that team did that yesterday. Oh, is this Lazarus Racing? It is. This is the 26 of Fabio Anidi slowing down. So they had a disaster yesterday, did Lazarus Racing, and it doesn't look to have got any better for them today. Not too sure. That looks a potential gearbox issue, maybe. As we come down towards turn number 4, that is Crestani. They've had to do a lot of overtaking over the past 2 days. A bad qualifying today, a penalty, drive-through penalty yesterday, and it looks like Lazarus Racing are going to grind to a halt. Let's have a look at what happened. Oh, here was the two Teo Martin cars. So Kodric on the outside, and to me, Hahn appeared to just time that perfectly. You would have seen the brake lights came on there just before they got to the braking zone, as Hahn then got on the brakes and dipped in behind Kodric. Well, it makes sense considering that Kodric, their team, are fighting for the championship lead. They are just 2 points back from Costa and Alto, who are the next car ahead of them. So they need to go and catch those guys. Whereas Marcelo Hahn, they are further down the championship. They're actually 19th place, that team. Okay, in the background, oh, we had a penalty coming up there for car 26. That's Lazarus Racing. Oh, well, I don't think they're going to finish this race, but even if they did, they would have got a 2-second penalty anyway. This is the BMW then of Senkir Motorsport going down the inside, or defending, shall I say, from the 93. This is Richard Gonda defending from Christopher Froggatt. That BMW looks nowhere near as quick as it did yesterday. Giuseppe Cipriani's had a 4-second time penalty added. So that means, I think that's because they didn't serve their full handicap in the pit stop. They are going to have the time that they didn't serve in the pit stop that they should have done added to the end of their race. I think that was probably the case for Lazarus Racing as well. We're into the final 15 minutes of the race. We've got a warning flag for Martin Kodric at turn 1. He's got to be careful of that. Here is once again the two teammates swapping places. Now, you might have your own view. You might say that was just a good move from Kodric, got the good run out the final corner, went through. But to me, that looks like Hahn backs out and allows Kodric through and kind of set that one up from the last corner just to make it so he lost as little time as possible in allowing Kodric through. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, I don't know, but that would make the most sense to me given they are teammates and Kodric and Chavez are in a championship fight and Hahn and Coder are not. There is the car anyway. And that time they did make a mistake. They're second in the Pro-Am class. Valentin Pierreberg and Tom Onslow Cole still leading that class. But they are only about 6 or 7 seconds back, Marcelo Hahn from Valentin Pierreberg. Yes, there may be 3 cars between them, but if Pierreberg starts to lose places, which it looks like he does, it might be worth us picking him up now, because he is in the number 20, Valentin Pierreberg, and he's very, very quickly being caught here by Mikhail Grenier. There we go, just on cue. We pick up the number 20, Valentin Pierreberg there in that Mercedes, who is being caught by the Lamborghini pairing of Grenier and Costa. Here we are on board with Costa as we go into the penultimate corner. Hard on the brakes, take the curb, use the exit curb as well, but not too much now. A quick stab of the brakes before you tip your way into that downhill last corner. A little bit too much speed ahead for Mikhail Grenier as we now start the run up towards turn number 1, and Costa knows he's live. We're live with him because he gave us a wave as well as we go in towards turn number 1. Are we going to see another move, I wonder, whilst being on board with Albert Costa? Here we go, up the gears we go now, making our way up towards turn number 3. What about ahead? Valentin Pierreberg under real pressure here from Mikhail Grenier as we now come through turn number 3. Now down towards turn number 4 we go, and Grenier starting to put the pressure on here as they come into the braking zone. The Emil Frey Racing Lamborghini behind, trying to get past the SPS Automotive Mercedes, and I think they're going to do it on the exit of the corner. Valentin Pierreberg runs too wide on the exit of the corner, not able to get the power down as quickly as Grenier did, and in fact Valentin Pierreberg is just getting out of the way now, I think, of Grenier and Costa. Both go through very, very easily. Pierreberg, I think this is damage limitation time in terms of the amount of time he's losing when being passed by these guys. Kodrich is next. And then it is Marcin Shedinsky. After that, we have Marcelo Hahn. Shedinsky in the Pro-Am class, Hahn in the Pro-Am class as well. So we could have a real close battle for the lead in that class very, very shortly. We're coming up to the final 10 minutes. Blue flags are waving. I think that's is that Crestani on the number 10 on the inside, having to get out of the way of Grenier and Costa. Costa really starting to put pressure under his teammate now as they come up towards turn number 3. In the background, you can see Martin Kodrich in the McLaren there, the number 59 Teo Martin motorsport car. It's their first season back, having taken a season out, and even they didn't expect to be this good so quickly. They've just got things really hooked up. Well, that's, you can see running wide there was not Tom Onslow Cole, but Valentin Pierreberg, and I think in the end he just allowed Albert Costa to go through. This is on board with Costa, so we'll see Pierreberg runs wide there. Grenier goes through. He's on the dirty stuff there, is Pierreberg. And does Pierreberg just lift off here, I wonder? Well, it looks like Costa actually did the move on the brakes. It was not a bad move. And whilst we were looking at that replay, we'll show you another one, because that is Kodrich going past at Valentin Pierreberg. And he is now chasing after Costa and Grenier. But whilst all this has been going on, Johnny Adam, Ollie Wilkinson, the car Johnny Adam was in, is starting to be heavily caught now. It's 2.6 seconds between Ollie Wilkinson and Andres Saravia. Very, very close. Teo Martin Motorsport in second, trying to chase down Optimum Motorsport for the honours of winning the 200th International GT Open race. It's round number 4 of the season. Race 2 here at the Red Bull Ring, and we are on board with Albert Costa in the slipstream here of Mikhail Grenier as they come up towards the turn 3 braking zone. You can just see there Grenier just having to come over to the middle of the circuit before coming back for the braking zone, and Costa gets a little bit closer then as we head now up towards turn number 4. Saravia catching Ollie Wilkinson once again on this lap, but this is for the last step on the podium, and it is extremely close. This is a whole 16 seconds back from Wilkinson and Saravia. So even if Wilkinson is caught and passed, they'd still get a podium, but they'd want that win. There's no two ways about it. They haven't had a win so far, and what a time it would be to do it on the 200th race. Johnny Adam doing a fantastic job in qualifying. Ollie Wilkinson, since getting in the car, has really tried his best to just stabilise this gap now. He's not being caught heavily, I can tell you that. It's over just a long period of time. The gap has slowly been chipped away. It's not a case of Ollie Wilkinson falling off a cliff. He is, of course, a very quick driver. They finished 6th yesterday, and he's had a podium this season already. So he's good enough to be where he is. He's good enough to win races. Is this his time to do it? He's just extended his lead as well, just as I've been saying all that. So Ollie Wilkinson has fought back there at Saravia and has extended it to 2.7 seconds. Here's a replay further back. Oh, that's the number 9, and round she goes. That is Davide Roda there having a spin, one of the AM teams. That puts Martin Conrad second in the AM class, and they're now trying to chase after Giuseppe Cipriani. That's a replay of, that's the number 3 of Richard Gonda going wide. So Gonda there, oh, a bit of contact there. That was a switchback move being made by Crestani, and a bit of contact, unfortunately. But the fight for the AM lead is getting close, so we'll keep an eye on that. The fight for the overall lead is at 2.5 seconds. And then we have the fight for the podium as well, which is just 0.3 of a second now between Grenier and Costa, with Kodric only 0.4 back, so it's even closer. Now it's only 0.6 between the trio, and here they are charging up towards turn number 9 now. 6.5 minutes on the clock as we file our way through the penultimate corner. Here we are on board with Costa then. We've got Mikhail Grenier in 3rd place just ahead of us. The 2 teammates are being caught by the Teo Martin Motorsport car of Martin Kodric, 2nd in the championship. This is our championship leaders, so we've got the 2 championship leaders, one we're on board with, 2nd in the championship directly behind us as we now come through turn number 1 for the 36th time here. 6 minutes remaining in this one. Costa trying to get past Grenier whilst having to defend now from Kodric at the same time. Here's a replay. Now this is the number 6 of Alessio Rivera. Oh, and Alessio Rivera goes round and then, well, quite neatly points it back in the same direction again and is able to get going. But Alessio Rivera not having the best of races, down in 19th. We rejoin Albert Costa. On board now we go, down towards turn number 4. Heavy on the brakes, down the gears. Over the curb there, you'll see that they take quite a lot of curb. So much so that Grenier flicked up a little bit of dust from the grass on the inside of the curb. Now into the left-hander. Costa is the long, long left-hander which goes on and on. Now Nicky Lauda corner. Here we go. And now we'll hear him go up the gears. Here we go. 3rd, 4th. Now we'll grab 5th gear as we head up towards turn number 9. This is getting extremely close, this, between Grenier and Costa. Let's have a listen. Now you can see just the noise of the rumble strip. Love listening to that on the exit of the corner. It sounds awesome. Could watch onboards of these guys all day, and we are going to watch these guys battle away for the next 4.5 minutes. 3 cars in this one, 1 step on the podium left, and it's the podium they all want to be on. The 200th GT Open podium. And it's between Grenier, Costa and Kodric. They're in that order. Up towards turn number 3 we go. And it's time that Grenier is now starting to defend. Costa sitting in the middle of the road. And then in the middle of the queue, sorry, and then Kodric behind. Oh, and there's that Costa diving to the inside. It is. Well, it looks like Grenier is slowing down. Grenier slowing down, and Costa is going to take the position. Now we have the 2 championship leaders fighting away. Costa ahead, Kodric behind. What's happening to Mikhail Grenier, though? Absolute disaster for Emil Frey Racing there. I'm not too sure what is going on with them at all, but they are falling and falling down the order with Grenier. They clearly are nursing a problem. Just picked up all of a sudden. Not too sure what happened with Mikhail Grenier, but Costa is now into 3rd. 2 points it is between these two in the championship in the order they are in on circuit there. This is the gap between first to second. Ollie Wilkinson over the last few laps has been putting in some really good laps, and he's been able to manage the gap very well. It's now 2.3 seconds between himself and Saravia. It's been going up and down though. Anytime Saravia brings it down, Ollie Wilkinson seems to respond. And then we can see a replay immediately. Grenier knew he had a problem there. I can tell you he was 5 seconds slower, make that 6 seconds slower than anyone in the second sector. Oh, there you can see on board it almost caught Costa out. We did very well there, Albert Costa, to just dive out the way. And, well, there you can see an empty road ahead of him now. All he has to do is defend from championship rival Martin Kodric behind. Martin Kodric can get that car on the podium. It would be the 5th podium of the season for that car. And it's 2.4 seconds the gap now between Wilkinson and Saravia. I can tell you there you can see the Lamborghini of Grenier still falling down the order, unfortunately. And it looks like it could be a pretty terminal problem. Real shame that. They're now down in 10th place, Mikhail Grenier. Real shame, but we have just over 2 minutes to go. 2.4 seconds is the gap between our two leaders. This looks like the Sun Energy One racing team. Oh, a little bit too much curb there. Trying to dive up the inside of the number 16 car that was, and that was Marcelo Hahn in that car. Almost a little bit of contact, but just avoided in the end. This is Martin Kodric. They are, of course, battling away in the championship with Albert Costa. Kodric and his teammate Enrique Chavez, Costa and Giacomo Alto, doing a great job so far this season. Took their second win yesterday. But this is the lead car. It is the Aston Martin of Ollie Wilkinson and Johnny Adam. Johnny Adam, who joined this round. Now we've got 3-second time penalty to be added to the number 93. That's Christopher Froggatt in the Ferrari 488, who's down in 10th place. If he loses 3 seconds, he's going to lose 2 positions, actually. So at the moment, he's running in 12th place, unless he can make up a little bit of ground. This is the number 17, Teo Martin Motorsport car, second on the road at the moment. Andres Saravia, 2.2 seconds behind, and limping home into the pits. That is Mikhail Grenier, and he knows that's not going anywhere. Real disappointment for the Emma Racing, number 14. That's a huge shame for them, and not good for their championship either. So, huge disappointment and a real shame. But we'll rejoin the race between the two leaders, though, because the gap has come down to 2 seconds between Ollie Wilkinson in the Aston Martin, Andres Saravia in the Teo Martin Motorsport McLaren as they come up towards turn number 3. It is Optimum Motorsport and Aston Martin versus Teo Martin Motorsport and McLaren as we come in towards turn 3. Since starting in 2006, we have reached our 200th race in this championship, and they haven't yet won one, but it looks like for the first time this season, Optimum Motorsport are going to take a race win. What a first race win it would be for them this season. Johnny Adam will be his first win in the championship as well, so this would be a real historic day. What a day to do it. Aston Martin not on the top step of the podium, getting there for the first time on the 200th race. Here we go. Oh, it's so close for third place as well. This is Costa versus Kodric and Crestani. Is that Crestani? I think is now coming up the order as well. Is it? Crestani's up into third place. Oh, and looks like Costa's running wide. Crestani's got into third. Kodric is then sat in fourth place. And Valentin Pierreberg is now coming into play. But out front, 200 races we've had, and the 200th winner is going to be Ollie Wilkinson for Optimum Motorsport with Johnny Adam. They take the race victory. It's an Aston Martin on the top step of the podium. Andres Saravia is going to finish in second place. Who is going to complete the podium? It looks like from nowhere, we didn't even see it coming, but Fabrizio Crestani from down the order in that Mercedes Mercedes AMG is going to come through the final corner, and he will take the last step of that overall podium as they come across the line. Martin Kodric will finish in 4th place. 5th place will be Albert Costa, and Valentin Pierberg takes the Pro-Am win. What a race that was. He and Tom Onslow Cole back on the top step of the podium. We wait for our AM winner now, which I think is going to be Giuseppe Cipriani in the number 8. And what a fantastic result it would be for Cipriani. It would mean Conrad is off the top step of the podium for only the 3rd time this season, and the Austrians not able to take the win here on race number 200. But that is the winning car. It's the number 96 Aston Martin Optimum Motorsport. Ollie Wilkinson looked like he didn't have enough in the tank to start with when he first came out onto the track. The gap really did come down, but it almost seemed, now looking back, that Ollie Wilkinson was just taking it easy, saving the tyres, and when the time was required to respond to the pace of Andres Saravia, Ollie Wilkinson duly did just that, and in the end he holds on to take their first win of the season. Race number 200 of the International GT Open goes the way of Optimum Motorsport. It is Ollie Wilkinson and Johnny Adam on the top step. Teo Martin Motorsport are second with Rueda and Saravia, and Ramos and Crestani on the last lap came from 5th to 3rd for SPS Automotive. 3 different cars on the podium and no Lamborghini. Can you believe that, the way this season has gone? Kodric finishes in 4th place, and then it is Costa in 5th. Pierberg wins Pro-Am in 6th, and it's Gonda, Shadinsky, Hahn and Habul. And winning the AM class in the end was Martin Conrad. It looks like they just steal it? I think they did right at the end there. Martin Conrad able to get through. So it is the Austrians who take the win in the AM class. There is the championship standings. It is a dead tie between Kodric and Costa after that last lap drama. Kodric getting past Costa, who ran wide. They're now tied for the points, and then 10 points back are the rest of the field. But there's going to be huge celebrations. Wait for it, as here comes the Aston Martin. Ollie Wilkinson pulls the car into the number 1 spot. Fantastic performance. Johnny Adam put it on pole earlier, led, and then Ollie Wilkinson did the rest when he take over. A complete lights to flag victory, minus the pit stops, of course, for that team. They led every lap. Brilliant racing from them. Second place, there you can see, that is Crestani. I don't think he can even quite believe that he managed to finish 3rd there. What a last lap that was. There's Ollie Wilkinson. Big celebrations from him. There's Johnny Adam. The pair embracing. Johnny Adam coming into the championship for the first time, and he knows Ollie Wilkinson has worked very hard with that team this season. And that's Ollie Wilkinson go over and celebrate. It's been a long time coming, that, for Wilkinson this season. 3rd place there is, 2nd place, sorry, that's Saravia. That's Crestani, though, look. All hell Fabrizio Crestani. How did he do that? Brilliant race. What a race it was. Deserved of its title for the 200th International GT Open. We're going to hear from that winning team in just a sec. We have to give credit to the other 2 winning teams, though. Valentin Pierberg and Tom Onslow Cole, 6th overall in the winning Pro-Am team. And Martin Conrad and his teammate Alexander Ratchawina for HTP Motorsport take the double in the AM class. The Austrians victorious here at the Red Bull Ring, and they retain their championship lead as well. Big smile that from Ollie Wilkinson. He's absolutely delighted. So 3rd place then, last lap drama, it all kicked off, and Fabrizio Crestani managed to make 2 places, passing Costa and Kodric to take 3rd. Up the road though, they put as much pressure as they could under the leaders. They brought the gap down to 1.3, but it's 2nd at best for Andres Saravia. But taking the win for the first time this season, the Aston Martin is on the top step finally. Johnny Adam and Ollie Wilkinson bringing it home. Let's hear from the winners.
Ollie Wilkinson, Johnny Adam winners at the Red Bull Ring. Ollie, what a fantastic win.
Yeah, it's unbelievable really to have our first win in GT Open. I've been racing in the championship for a year and a half now, and we haven't had a chance to get a victory yet. So to claim one here today is really unbelievable, really.
And it's of course a very special day today. But you know that the 100th race of the GT Open was won by an Aston Martin. So keeping the tradition.
Yeah, no, it's a lovely race. You know, 200 races for GT Open is a milestone in itself, and you know, Ollie's, I would say that's the best I've seen him drive. He drove so well there. The guys have done a great job with this Aston, and it's lovely to get a debut win in GT Open with a new car. But the guys have done a really good job behind the scenes this weekend, and we'll go home happy tonight. Obviously, it was a hard-fought win, but yeah, very happy.
Before that, time to celebrate. Well done.
Well, the 200th race got underway with an Aston Martin on pole position in the hands of Johnny Adam. He would lead from Giacomo Alto in the Lamborghini. It was very close around the outside there. We saw Enrique Chavez going into second place and dropping to fourth place at the start there was Alto. This was the number 17 Teo Martin motorsport car battling away. There was battles up and down the order as everyone was fighting for the win in the 200th race. Then the pit stops began with 36 minutes remaining. Everyone came in. Of course, we had those handicaps to do as well, which really mixed things up, but it was a real close battle up ahead. We had the number 14 there making moves, Mikhail Grenier that was. Unfortunately, they would grind to a halt later in the race. They did make a lot of positions. Further back, we had the likes of Albert Costa charging through, having taken over from Giacomo Alto. This was when Kodric, which we think was allowed by his teammate there to go through. This racing cars there who would then fight for third place. Then came Fabrizio Crestani out of nowhere, went from 5th to 3rd on the final lap, but out front an Aston Martin won the 100th race, and an Aston Martin wins the 200th race. It's Ollie Wilkinson's first ever win in the International GT Open, their first of the season, and a first for Johnny Adam as well, who joined the team for this round. Well, now we will go to the podium. We'll start with the pro class, and we'll get first out the number 10 car. Of course, it was the Fabrizio Crestani in the SPS Automotive car who came firing through at the end. We're going to have 3 podiums. We've got our pro podium, our pro-am podium, and our am podium. There you can see Ollie Wilkinson getting ready to go on to the podium. It will be the pro podium we do first, though, and we'll welcome the number 10. They started 14th on the grid, but Miguel Ramos and Fabrizio Crestani, they left it late, but from 5th to 3rd on the final lap, they finally got there. And there you can see what a performance that was. Crestani, still not sure how he did it. We picked up that battle when it was all kicking off. There we go to second place then. Saravia finishing in second place with Fran Rueda, but winning the 200th International GT Open race. And Aston Martin victorious. It was on the 100th race, and it is once again on the 200th race. It's Ollie Wilkinson's first ever win in the series. Johnny Adam, who joined for this round, gets it straight on the top steps, and it's a win for Optimum Motorsport. The British National Anthem playing out there, all British driver lineup, British team as well, British manufacturer. Brilliant day for that team. As Johnny Adams said, they'll go home very, very happy tonight. They came in with plans to get a podium. A win is even better. But third place, Fabrizio Crestani, fantastic drive at the end there. He and Miguel Ramos pick up third place on this very, very special podium, the 200th in our history. Second place goes the way of Andres Saravia and Fran Rueda for Teo Martin Motorsport. brilliant performance from them. They tried their best, they put the pressure on the leaders, but Ollie Wilkinson did not buckle, and he takes his first win. This is going to feel very, very sweet indeed. It's a victory for Optimum Motorsport and Aston Martin in the International GT Open. What a way to do it. You couldn't write it, could you? Winning the 100th race, winning the 200th race. Fantastic story, that. And a first for Ollie as well. Very pleased for him. They have had a podium this season and a win now. The winning team, Optimum Motorsport. This is really going to boost them up the order now. Fantastic performance from them. So we're going to have our celebrations now. We're going to have our following podiums to follow this. And here we go. It's time to celebrate champagne time. It's going to get very messy up there. And I think Optimum Motorsport getting absolutely soaked. Victory for them. It's time for the Pro-Am podiums and the Am podium. So we will wait to get our Pro-Am teams out. First, we'll welcome the number 16 Teo Martin Motorsport team, Marcelo Hahn and Alan Coder. They drove very, very well. Alan particularly pulling off some brilliant moves whilst he was in his stint. Second place, it is the number 77 Olymp Racing on their first race with us. And they're on the podium in that Audi R8. It didn't finish yesterday, finishes in second today. They are absolutely delighted with that, and so they should be. But the winners back on the top step, it's of course the championship leaders. It is Valentin Pierre-Berg and Tom Onslow Cole for SPS Automotive. And there the trophies being handed out to third place, now to second. Olymp Racing, welcome to International GT Open this season. And a warm welcome it is. Great time to come along and get a podium. But the 200th win in International GT Open in the Pro-Am class, it's going to go the way of SPS Automotive. It's Tom Onslow Cole and Valentin Pierre-Berg. They look very, very pleased with that one. Considering the day they had yesterday, they are very pleased to have come back fighting. They came back in style as well, and it's going to be a big celebration this as well. It's already kicking off. Here we go. And it's going to get a bit slippy out there for the Am drivers. They're coming out after this. Hope they don't fall over. But I think that's going to taste very sweet, that, for Tom Onslow Cole. He and Valentin Pierre-Berg doing very well. Sensible driving from Pierre-Berg, just allowing drivers to go through towards the end of the race there, just to keep himself out of trouble, to minimise any time he lost. And looks like the team are even getting a little bit of a splash down there as well. And a selfie from Onslow Cole. Very pleased with that one. But we now go to the Am podium. Am drivers will come out, but we will leave it there. It's been fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us from the Red Bull Ring for the 200th International GT Open. It's been fantastic racing. Next is Silverstone in September. Make sure you join us there.
In second place, ENG category, Giuseppe Cipriani. And our winning drivers here in the M category, once again, Alexander Jakobina, Martin Kodas. Gratulation auch hier für die zweite Rennen der International GT Open.